Hi guys, it's Thursday. Welcome to another edition of All Things Real Estate. Today I am talking about what happens when you get multiple offers on your house when it is listed for sale, which is kind of the norm in today's crazy market in the Dallas area. Most people would think that the obvious choice is going to be the highest priced offer. But that is actually not the case. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is some other terms and things within the offer that you want to look at in addition to price. So stay tuned.
All things real estate and all things real estate.
Okay, so you've got your house for sale and the offers start rolling in, right? That is exciting and fun. And most people, if they see an offer that's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over list price, they're going to say, that's the one, right? Well, obviously, the highest price offer, it is nice to see that money. And that is, it puts it at the front of the list, of course. But there are some other things that you need to think about in addition to just the offer price. And I'm going to go through those with you right now. So the number one thing, probably in addition to price, that you want to look at is financing. What type of financing is the buyer coming to you with? A conventional loan is actually the best type of loan versus FHA, VA, or USDA in today's market. I've done some other videos on why that is the case. I'm gonna you can go check those out after you watch this one. But for right now, let me just say that you need to be looking for a conventional loan, or the other option is cash, right? So if someone has offered a cash price for your house, that is another thing that should put that offer toward the top of the heap, even if it is not necessarily the highest price offer. So how are these buyers getting their money? That's the real question, right? So you want to look for either cash or a conventional loan in terms of how they're getting their money. Another consideration is if it is a financed offer, it's really important for them in today's market to provide an appraisal waiver. You don't want to be 20 days into your contract and have a lender do the appraisal and have the appraisal come back $20,000 or $30,000 too low, and then you as a seller is sitting there going, well, is the buyer going to bring that money to the table? And the buyer's saying, well, I'm not going to buy that house because the lender just told me it wasn't worth it. So you want to look at offers that have appraisal waivers in there. That is going to be another super important thing to look for. Another thing is the lender themselves. So you know how in real estate we have that old adage, location, location, location. Well, with lenders in our business, we want local, local, local. We don't want an internet lender that doesn't have any kind of brick and mortar place. We don't want a large bank. And I'm just going to give you some examples. I'm not saying anything particularly against these lenders, but I'm talking about places like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, those kind of big lenders. Typically, they take a long time to process. They process in other parts of the country and that kind of thing. So I think when you're buying a home, you think location, location, location in terms of which home. For a lender, you want local, local, local. And that's what you need to look at as a seller when you're getting a bunch of offers is which offers are from local lenders. That's super important. One last thing that you really need to think about is the contingencies in a contract. So typically there are three different types of contingencies that we see. One is the sale of the buyer's home. We are not seeing that much happen in this market where a buyer comes in with a contingency to sell their home. Lots of buyers are getting pretty savvy and saying, I know I need to sell my home before I buy one. So we're not seeing that contingency so much. But the other two that are real common are inspection contingencies and then also financing contingencies. So the financing contingency actually can be pretty much taken out of the contract. And that's what I look for when I'm looking at offers for my sellers is there really doesn't need to be a financing contingency if the buyer has done their homework, chosen their lender, gotten their lender all their documentation, their W-2s, their tax returns, all that stuff. You don't have to have a financing contingency. because the buyer really can be fully approved before they ever make an offer. So to me, you can take that one off the table. The other one is the inspection contingency, and that one gets a little stickier because in addition to being a listing agent who helps people sell houses, I am also a buyer agent a lot of times, and I refuse to tell my buyers not to do an inspection on a house. So I still advise buyers to put an inspection contingency in there, and in Texas that is called like the option period. So there are ways around that though to make the offer still look really good for a seller. And so from a seller side, you do want to see the fewest days possible for a buyer to do an inspection, or you want to see a buyer that is not having an actual inspection period, but they're doing sort of two submissions of earnest money and that kind of thing. So technically they wouldn't have an option period per se, but they would have 2 times where they're submitting earnest money, and that can sort of give them, in essence, a time period for inspection. So that's a little strategy that I've just come up with in the last month or two to try to get buyers under contract, is to do the 2 submissions of earnest money. So those are the things I wanted to say to you as a seller in this market. Is the top price offer is not always the best one. I'm going to go through that list again of important things. So you want to look at appraisal waiver. You want to look at type of loan. You want to look at the lender and make sure that the lender is local. And then you want to look at any contingencies that are in the contract, in addition to price. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching this edition of All Things Real Estate. If you're liking what you're seeing in these videos, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you have any questions about the real estate market, about buying or selling or anything like that, get in contact with me. I would love to help. And I will see you next week on another edition of All Things Real Estate. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.
All things real estate and all things